Seems that every time I have an important message, the internet decides to play games. So I don't know if it's simply a test to see how committed I am to these messages or what we're willing to endure. So I thank all of you for your patience. I got all of your texts letting me know it was 8 o'clock and 8:05, but I could not get it any faster. The internet, we've had storms off and on, so I thank all of you for your patience and for being here with us. We're going to wait just a minute, give everyone a chance to get here. Hi, Ashley. Hey, John. Thank you all so much for joining. Again, tonight's message has nothing to do with business. We have a business webinar at 9 o'clock. This is just a message from my heart after a really difficult month. The bottom line is I've spent the past month with so many people that are struggling for various reasons, and I just felt compelled to come on here. You may have seen the posts. Bottom line is I'm going to send a bunch more of those out because I truly had no idea just how bad it was out there for people, and it's important that everybody knows they're not alone. We'll wait one more minute and then we will go ahead and get started. Welcome to all of you, and again, thank you for your patience. And no, this is not scruffed. I actually, believe it or not, trimmed it. I may go with a beard for a little while. I had a business call earlier today, and the person on the other end said, well, it looks like retirement has been very good to you, because for those of you that don't know, I've had a buzz cut for 30 years. I haven't had hair since high school. And I used to have to shave every day. So now, seeing me with long hair and a beard absolutely freaked this person out. All right, so tonight's message is both simple and apparently very complex. And the message tonight is just talking about struggle. And what I mean by that is there are so many people out there. And I say so many people. I'll never, ever mention names, so I don't want anybody to ever be concerned about that. But that have reached out to me over this past month. It happens, all the time, but it happened just an overwhelming amount of times the past 4 or 5 weeks. People that are just struggling. And the common thread, the thing that caused me to do this video is everyone thinks they're alone. Everybody right now that's struggling for whatever the struggle is feels as if it's them. They feel as if it's their fault, or they brought it upon themselves, or that they're the only one that's either dealing with it or that's dealt with it. And there's a lot of self-blame, a lot of self-judgment. I want to be clear about this. We all, myself included, we all struggle for various reasons, and we handle and address our struggle in different ways. There's not a right or wrong. I think the biggest message I want to deliver is there is no right or wrong, and there is no good or bad. It is a daily choice for all of us when we wake up how we're going to embrace the day. And I'm not going to sit here and give you cliches. I'm not going to sit here and do the glass half empty, half full. I'm simply going to say that you're not alone. If right now you or someone you care about is struggling for whatever reason, it's real. It's real for them. And at this point, all we can do is provide them with the love and the support that they need in whatever capacity they need it. I've learned painfully over the past few years through my own stuff both how to work on myself and how to accept and appreciate and handle the struggle of others. And I won't go into it, but the bottom line is the struggle is real for people. This past 4 or 5 weeks, I've dealt with so many people struggling with loss, and some of it has been physical loss of a family member, a loved one, someone that they truly and deeply cared about that has passed on. and it's painful, and there's no words to express that. And so grieving and dealing with that pain is a process. I've dealt and assisted a number of people that went through very painful relationship breakups with real damage from a significant other that was on some level abusive, and it was painful. And the reason I bring those two up is they're polar opposites, but yet they're the same. I've dealt with people that are struggling with suicidal tendencies, with alcohol addictions. And the common theme, the common thread with all of it is the self-judgment, the self-criticism, the inability to look in the mirror and push through what other people think and say about us. And I'll just speak for myself. I want you all to understand this is not any one person or any one struggle, so I'll talk about myself. It's so important that we each, on every single day and throughout the day, remember that we're not falling into or fitting into or trying to address somebody else's expectations for us and judgments of us. I think that's where so many people, I know for myself, I was constantly trying to seek the approval of other people and allowing them to judge me, allowing them to establish the standards, and I was lost. When we are not the ones looking in the mirror and appreciating who we are and valuing ourselves in the highest regard, we're giving that up to someone else. And when we give it up to someone else, we're lost. It's like sitting in a vehicle and letting somebody else drive. In fact, sitting in the back seat and falling asleep. We're going to go where they take us. And I think that's the challenge, because so many of us are seeking the approval of other people instead of just appreciating who we are and not being in competition. And so I share this to say there is no right or wrong, there is no good or bad, there is no judgment, there just is. And our job is to look in the mirror, to appreciate ourselves for where we are right now. More importantly, to realize that there is no competition, there is no comparison, there is no expectations that we're supposed to be living up to. And to recognize that it's daily, to recognize this goes on day after day. It's not a process that you get to and then all of a sudden you don't do it anymore. That's the trap that many people fall into. That's why you'll see so many extremely public and successful people out there struggling with addiction, struggling with depression, struggling with, and you can fill in the blank with whatever. And it's because it's real. And it's because we have to acknowledge it on a daily basis. Not the depression, acknowledge our worth on a daily basis. You set the value for yourself. You set your own worth. And based upon that, you will handle everything that life throws at you. Because the challenge is letting go of the false sense of control over what's going to happen and paying 100% attention to what we do have the ability to control, which is our own reactions, to control our own feelings and our own emotions. And that's really what I want to share right now, is using the physical loss. And again, it's like 7 people in the last 4 or 5 weeks have lost somebody close to them, family or a very, very dear close friend. And it's been devastating. And I've spoken with them, I've sat with them, I've talked to them on the phone, and like I said, there's no words to describe or to express that are going to take away that pain. So the trick is to reach inside and appreciate and recognize all of the love and the value, and appreciate all of the amazing times and memories that we had with that person, because the bottom line is we don't have the ability to bring them back. And I know I'm not trying to sound harsh, but we love the time that we had with them. We love all of the value that they brought to us, all of the memories that we created with them, all of the lessons that they gave us, all of the things that they taught us. And we hold those memories dear. But we have to make sure that we don't allow ourselves to go sideways with that, and that's what happens. It happened to me. I've lost people close to me, and it's tough. Switching gears, it's just as equally painful when you have a relationship and you're in love with somebody and they damage you. And whether it's accidental or intentional, the pain is the same. And so the reality is we can't be angry at them. We can't let them take control of our emotions. And again, it's a daily challenge. I'm not trying to sound like I'm an expert, but when that happens, we have to look inside and say, okay, what is this person teaching me? And if you look at some of my posts, they're specifically up there for a handful of you. Hopefully you're watching tonight, or at least you'll watch the replay. But we invest, and I say we because I did it with a former relationship. I invested far too much of my own emotion into them, and I lost myself. I allowed them and their addiction and their self-loathing to affect me. Didn't do it on purpose. I don't think they even did it to me on purpose. It just is what happened. But we have to stay strong and true to ourselves. We have to, this is it's a tricky one, and it was very tricky for me. And I'm grateful for the people in my life that really helped me to work through and understand this. But self-love. I used to hear about self-love, and to me, it was very narcissistic. It was very selfish, and so I couldn't process it, and I just dismissed it. But it's so important that we have to love ourselves, that we have to be very comfortable and gentle and love ourselves for who we are, flaws and all, and then work on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis, to improve in the areas that we want to improve, but without being critical and judgmental and negative towards ourselves. And that's why it's so important to be in healthy relationships and surrounded by healthy people, because when you're in an unhealthy relationship or you have unhealthy friendships with people who are selfish or narcissistic or sociopathic, and believe me, I've been with them all. The idea is we then start to second guess ourselves. We allow ourselves to be manipulated, and we basically, again, lose ourselves and start to be critical, and that's where depression comes from. We can never live up to that ridiculous false sense of what we think we're supposed to be based on the judgments that other people are laying on us that we're believing and accepting. And so everything stems from being able to look in the mirror and actually love what you see. So many of you have asked me, when are you cutting your hair? And it's so funny because I don't know when I'm cutting my hair. For those of you that have known me for a long time, I've had a buzz cut for 30 years. I haven't had hair since high school. And when I went through this transformation, part of the process was letting that buzz cut grow out, letting my hair grow out, because it was a real physical, visible difference that I get to see every single day when I look in the mirror. Every single day, I recognize, you know what? I have gone through a lot. I have made some huge changes and some huge improvements, and it's a visible reminder. Now, I'm sure I'll cut it at some point, but right now, I haven't. And so those are little things that you can do to help yourself stay focused and to keep a clear mind. But the bottom line is, don't allow yourself to feel that you're alone. Don't allow yourself to think that whatever is happening is your fault. You have to be gentle. One of the things that I was taught that was, again, profound, but it took me a long time to appreciate and accept it, was if you're going to judge yourself, if you're going to be critical of yourself, and you can't avoid doing it, then do it in this fashion. Think about a 3 or a 4-year-old child, and that child's doing whatever they're doing. If they make a mistake, or they do something, they break something, they drop something, something happens, clearly it's an accident. How would you talk to that child? How would you treat that child? And hopefully you would not be verbally offensive and abusive to that little 3-year-old, that you'd be gentle and you'd be kind and that you'd be loving and that you'd be compassionate and you'd be understanding and that you would fix whatever went wrong, or you would replace whatever it was, you would do it in a kind, gentle, compassionate way. And what I was taught was that's how you talk to yourself. Treat yourself, talk to yourself, judge yourself, criticize yourself the same way you would a little 3-year-old child. And when I finally embraced that and accepted that, it made things a lot easier. It made me realize, okay, I'm not going to be perfect. I shouldn't be trying to be perfect. I shouldn't look or expect perfection. But when things do go wrong, how I react and respond to it is going to make all the difference in the world. Now, take it a step further. So there's your self-love. And once you can do that for yourself and you can appreciate your flaws and you can move through the mistakes and you can move through and handle the issues and the obstacles and the challenges that life and that people are going to throw at you. Please understand, I'm not trying to sound like a genius. I still have to deal with stuff and I'm challenged every day. Well, I will tell you point blank. It happened today. It happened today. I had somebody from my past that's still out there provoking and playing the victim and accusing and it's my choice to let it trigger me or instead to look at that person for who they are and where they are. And I'll share with you what helps me. I now can appreciate people for where they are. Instead of judging them, instead of assuming or expecting them to be more than they're capable of being, I think of it like a deck of cards. If you play cards, you know there's supposed to be 4 sets of 13 for a total of 52 cards in a deck. And in those 52 cards, you can play different games. Well, if you buy a deck of cards that's missing 7 cards, so you don't have 52, you have 45, you can't play the games. Well, this person doesn't have all 52 cards. So I can't expect them to act appropriately. I have to now say, that's the best you can be with your 45 cards. Love them for where they are. Thank them for every lesson they teach you. And be grateful that you have moved on and you're no longer there. That's something I have to do, not on a daily, not on a weekly, but when it happens. And it can be business related, it can be personal. It can be in so many different areas. And again, for me, this is not about trying to say, oh, look at all the stuff I've gone through, but I want you to understand, you're not alone. When I share these things, it's because I want people to recognize and understand I'm no different and no better than anyone else. I deal with the same stuff. I'm attacked by the same stuff, whether it's professional or personal. The only difference is after years of work, I now use the mirror as my greatest defense mechanism or weapon. I look in the mirror and I say, it's your choice. How you react to this is your choice. How you behave is your choice. When I allow someone else to trigger me and cause me to react, I'm giving them the control and the power. And that's the choice that we make every day. And I want to be clear about this. It is a daily choice. Sometimes it's going to happen hourly throughout a day. And I just wish all of you nothing but the peace and comfort in the process. And I say process because it's a process. It is a process. Some of you know my story. If you don't, it's no big deal. It's like I said, it's a story. And everybody has their own story. But you and I, we choose every day that we're given a new day. You know, for me, I start my day off by thanking God for giving me another day to go ahead and take advantage of. But we get to decide what we write in today's chapter, in today's page. Maybe it's not even a full chapter, it's a page. So I'll say it to you this way. We write our own story. And if you're too focused and fixated on the past, you're going to end up depressed. And you're going to sit in a state of depression because we can't change that. If you focus on tomorrow and the future, you're going to be constantly anxious and filled with anxiety because we don't know what the future holds and the future's not here yet. The only thing we have is right now. And it's funny because right now doesn't even mean today. It means right now. I planned to be on here at 8 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock wasn't able to get online. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Well, 8:10 came along, and I was finally getting, the internet connected and getting online. So we only have right now. And the trick that I was taught was to connect in the present moment through your breathing. The only thing we have is right now. We hope that we have 5 minutes from now, and 5 hours from now, and 5 days from now, and 5 weeks from now, and 5 months, and 5 years, and 5 decades. But all we have is right now. So make the very best of each moment that you have. And I'm going to continue to put posts out there that will help you. My hope is that they will help you to continue to stay and reflect. I've been posting things from a movie that I have not watched in a long time. And it was called The Peaceful Warrior. And The Peaceful Warrior was an outstanding movie that I watched far too early that I couldn't appreciate the messages. I had not evolved yet enough to really understand or appreciate them. But the bottom line is it's an amazing movie. If you haven't watched it, I encourage you to watch it. But the bottom line is we only have right now. We only have this moment right now. And what we do with it is our choice. And what we do with right now will directly affect what we do in 10 minutes, in 5 hours, tomorrow, and so forth. So understand, you have a book. And if you're listening to my voice and watching this video, you're still alive. If you're still alive, you still have choices. If you still have choices, you can continue to write your story. Understand, you're not just the lead character in your story, you're the author of your story. You are the author of your story. How do you want it to end? In fact, how do you want it to continue? Don't even worry about the end right now. What's today? What's going to happen in an hour? You choose it. And if this is making sense at all, I hope. If it's not, then I have completely wasted 30 minutes of your time, never to be given back to you. But I hope that it's making sense. Like I said, I'm talking to about 24 people through this video that I've been talking to for the past 4 or 5 weeks, because they have felt very alone. They have felt very lost. They have been struggling. And like I said, it was physical loss. It was emotional relationship devastation. It was suicidal tendencies. It was alcoholism. This was a wide array. And I honestly could not understand why. Why was I being bombarded by so much of this? And I realized it was to wake me up to realize it's not just, these, 15 to 20 people. It's hundreds, it's thousands, it's tens of thousands, it's hundreds of thousands, it's millions. And the challenge is so many people are hiding it. They're sweeping it under the rug because there's this huge stigma in our country about the word depression. And I'll say it this way. Every single person, everyone has to deal with some form of, some level of, some degree of a depressed issue, a depressive state, or a form of depression. And how much we allow that to infect, affect, and control us is the variable. But none of us escape it because we are all bombarded with stuff. There's financial struggle. There's physical health. There's emotional struggle. There's spiritual darkness. There's all kinds of issues and challenges that we all are going to face, and some of us face multiple at the same time. That's what finally broke me back in 2015 when my entire world collapsed and everything fell apart, and I had to reach out and get some help and get healthy again. And the long and short of it is, I don't know where you are. It's not you don't need to tell me anything. It's not my business to know. But if you are somewhere in that spectrum, it's my responsibility to let you know you're not alone. It's my duty to say, there are people out there willing and able to help, and it's my hope that you will find some peace knowing that. So the bottom line is this. I'll end by saying, again, something that is floated all over the internet and in life. And people talk about darkness, darkness, darkness. I've come to realize that there is no darkness. There's just the absence of light. And I choose to see, no matter how despicable, how evil, how selfish an individual may act, that they're just damaged and hurt and they don't know any different. That they have lost the light within them. So they are in darkness simply because they don't have the capacity anymore to see. Their light has gone out. So, for the rest of us, it is our challenge. It is our job. It is our responsibility. It is our, whatever you want to call it, to shine a light and to be that bright light. There are so many of you online that when I see those, wonderful posts full of love, I'll say, you know what, keep shining that bright light, because you never know who's having a lousy day or who's moving through something, and if they're on your feed and they see your post, you may just, put a smile on their face or help them to feel a little bit better. So the bottom line is there is no darkness. You can go to the darkest cave, you can go to the darkest part of the world, and one tiny little candle shining one little light will illuminate in that darkness. It may not show everything, but it begins to eliminate the darkness. So it's not a battle between light and dark. It's simply the absence of light. And so we have that ability, we have that capability, and I'm challenging everybody to make the choice to just be a bright light, to just, no matter what, give out and receive love. Sometimes people make it really, really hard to love them or to find that light within them. And if you can't find that light within them, shine your light on them. You can control you. If somebody is challenging you that badly, then maybe the test is really yours. Maybe the test is ours, and I'll say mine as well as yours. Can we truly shine a light in that pure darkness when we don't see one? So with that, I pray those of you that I've been, talking to and working with feel better. If not, I'll continue to send prayers for peace and for comfort and for healing and for love. And that's all we can do. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful and blessed night. For those of you that work with me, you have about 15 minutes, and then we switch gears and I stop this and we go into business mode. Because make no mistake about it, financial struggle is real. But tonight was all about just being here and trying to share, a really positive message, because so many people are out there struggling. And like I said, it just broke my heart to realize how many people felt that they were alone, or worse, were criticizing and judging and being so harsh on themselves. So I wish all of you a peaceful night, be blessed, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.